Well, hello there, faithful viewers. Welcome to Hi-Rez Studios, the creators of Smite, the game that we've been playing quite a bit and that we've come to love very much. We are sitting here right now with Hi-Rez Duke.
Hi, that's me.
Anyway, Duke, how about you explain to our viewers here who you are, what you do here, and a little bit about Smite.
My name is Brandon Dukes. Everyone calls me Hi-Rez Duke. And I am community manager for Smite. I establish relationships with people who like to stream, people who create fan sites, people who do fun stuff like videos, machinima, stuff like that. Just get people in touch with the right people in studio, get feedback to the developers and everything like that. I also like to sit in the lobby of our building with my arms around Spoon, because who doesn't? Smite is a third-person MOBA. If you're familiar with games like
Smite,
then you're familiar with the genre, but where Smite's different is, like I said, it's third person, so your camera is right behind your character as opposed to being click-to-move isometric view. So that's what Smite is, and that's what I do.
So now that Duke has done his spiel and stuff, I thought a good way to be able to tour the studio here was to go to ask Duke, and he's going to explain to us the exact process it takes from picking a god to add in the game all the way till it being in the game. So, let's go. So here we are on the first step of the process. We have Bort looking over there like a... That was terrifying. Anyway, Duke, where are we at for this first step?
We are at Research and Design, and we're here with Coleman Bryant.
Howdy. Coleman, how's it going? How about you give us a little bit of the process of what you do and when you... This is a terrible, that stupid live stream room. Give us a quick overview of how you do your research on a god that is decided to put in the game.
Yeah, so the very first steps is we usually have a big meeting of all the leads and producers, and we talk about what kind of gods we'd like to work in the future. Both in terms of role or based on pantheon, like, hey, we need some more Mayan gods, or we need physical assassins or something like that, or just this is a cool god that we haven't done yet, and there's a lot of potential for neat gameplay there. Here you can see it begins with both some discussion about what would be the role of the god, as well as some early concept art. So here on the right, we can see the initial concept art that was created for Thanatos. And then meanwhile, while that's all going on, we have a design doc, which lists information about the god, like some background, sort of like how we want to portray them in the game. So we work through the design doc and we get some kind of like general descriptors in for like what is their role. It's a physical assassin, has lots of penetration, good for tank killing or jungling or whatever. So several weeks of that process sort of occurs, and during that time the model is being built to a rough standard. It's rigged up, it gets some basic animations, and there's definitely not bunny ears being thrown up by Hi-Rez right now.
Who is that?
And then through several weeks of playtesting, we narrow it down and we sort of weed out the stuff that's not fun or that's irritating, and try to get the balance closer to right. It's usually kind of a stab in the dark at first, and you never know, things end up overpowered that seemed reasonable or whatever.
Okay, so looks like how research and development goes. Duke, where are we going next? Or let's head out to part 2.
Part 2?
Step 2.
We're going to step 2?
Yes, we are. Okay, Duke, we're at step 2. Mm-hmm. Let us know what's going on here.
All right, step 2 is typically concept art, and we're here with Brian Wells, and he can tell you a little bit more about that.
Brian,
okay.
How's it going?
It's going just fine. How are things with you?
Good, good. How about you give us a little quick insight onto what you do after the research and design stage of the God integration?
Right. Usually after the design team comes up with some idea of what they want the next god to be, it comes over to my desk, usually with a simple description. This will be Hades. He's the Greek god of the underworld. We need to meet certain requirements within gameplay and aesthetics, and he has this role to fill. This is a little bit of his background. From there, I'll do a little bit more research and development on my own end, and develop a series of sketches that are designed to depict the character from a variety of different angles that might be interesting to players. Usually I'll start out with a line work phase. As you can see here, I just try and make sort of the largest variety that I have available. In this case, we're dealing with the skin, so they share a certain set of basic proportions that we're already fitting the character. After going through and creating a variety of pictures, I'll send them off to my art lead, and I'll have a discussion, often with the whole team. We'll go through, we'll pick the ones that we like the best, sometimes mix and match, and eventually from there move on to developing a color concept. Ultimately, we put together a color concept of fairly polished painting that can be taken by the modelers and the rest of the team to create the model and solve for any potential technical issues we might have with animation.
Awesome. Well, that's the concept stage of the God integration. Duke, where are we heading off to next? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Modeling.
Modeling. Which way?
It's right there.
Yeah! Duke, that was a walk.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Brian. What are we doing here? Step 3.
Step 3, 3D modeling and texturing, and we're here with Rashad Fox.
Hi.
Hey, Rashad. How about you give us a little bit of an insight on what you do when you get something over there from concepting?
Sure. So once I get the model from Brian, I create a general block out of the model. I just want to keep in mind the proportions, the large details that he made up in his concept, like that we all agree is like this is what we want to do. Once I do that, I go into this program we have called ZBrush, and I start sculpting out like a lot of the areas that I blocked out before. Like I had like the skirt, and I had the armor and the head and the horns, and I just take those and I further like sculpt it out and detail it. Once I'm done with ZBrush, then what I do is I like to create a general like texture of whatever character, like of the of what it is that he concepted. So I want to have a general area of gold, of the cloth, of the bones, of the muscle. After ZBrush, I take it into Photoshop and I like just further refine that. I bring that back into 3D Studio Max, and the final result is these textures put onto this model.
Okay, so that is step 3. Now where are we headed?
We're gonna go talk to an animator.
So another 5-step journey from over there at modeling brings us over here to step 4. Duke, where are we at?
We're at animation and rigging.
Okay,
So yeah,
who do
and
we
we're
have here?
with Eric and Carticate.
Hey.
Hey,
Guys, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
How about you give just a really quick overview of what you guys do after you receive the models over from the modeling department?
Okay. So basically, when we get the models, they're very static. They're like a sculpture, like a, say, a porcelain doll or something, and they're not able to actually move. And so kind of one of the main things we do in rigging is we create a skeleton and a system of controls in order to allow the animation team to actually move the character.
Yeah, I mean, like what Eric was saying, is basically what, when we get the model from them, we actually go and, add all the bones and stuff. Hades doesn't actually have that many, facial bones and stuff, because, again, he has no face. So, but depending on more complex of a character, we can have, like, something that could be a very simple skeleton, something that can have like a whole bunch of characters. Like if it's a character which is a female and actually has a skirt, right? All the animators actually animate the skirt from scratch. Like we don't have any cloth simulation and everything. So everything animated you see is hand done by all the animators, and we have to give them the controls to let them to do all that.
Yeah, and I'll add that kind of with the rigging team, we're really meant to sort of facilitate what modeling has already done and what animation will be able to do. So our job is not really much in the way of creative input. It's more of sort of being a bridge between the two.
I mean, at the end of the day, a rigger's job is to do whatever they can to make the life for the animator easier. So we're creatively, like you said, we're actually not doing that much creative artistic stuff. We'll do whatever we can to make, hey, animators want this is what we'll give to them.
Okay, so there we go. I've been told that the animators are on a little bit of a deadline, work crunch right now, so we won't be able to go see them. But I could probably explain it better than anyone since I animate. They bring they bring what these riggers have done into their process in 3ds Max. They will key by key frame animate it, and then from there import it into Unreal. Let's go to step 6, 5, 14. Okay, so we have our god that has been researched, designed, concepted, modeled, rigged, animated, brought into Unreal, and we are now here on step 5. Where are we, Duke?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And so we're here at Visual Effects, and this is Juan, and he's going to show you how he developed some of the special effects that you see with weapon trails and stuff like that in the game.
Yeah, so basically I'll get the animations from the animation department on his attacks. And then there's that. So, in Max, I'll grab the animations, and based on those animations, I'll create a 3D mesh that I'll bring into Cascade, change the colors, figure out the timing, add whatever extra effects need to be added to it, and this effect gets plugged in here. So here I can kind of get a preview of what the effect's going to look like, and then again, a bunch of settings here for the timing and that kind of thing, and basically just figure out what's needed based on the animation, and then from there just test it in game and kind of see how it looks and what the leads want from that point on, and then just go back and make whatever fixes.
I have a question. How is it to work right across from Bort's streaming room?
I think I'm one of the new guys. I think they did it on purpose to torture me a little bit. Headphones help a lot. So after a while, you don't even think about it anymore. It's just one of those things.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it could be worse.
Well, as someone who used to be in that room, I can say it's not the same being outside the room as it is inside the room.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do to block it out.
And normally the door's closed, so it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Right now the door's open, so you just kind of hear
Revolving
everything.
door right now.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So that's how the particle effects get on the characters. It's not just limited to the weapons, the trails and stuff. That'd be, explosions, fire, all sorts of different things that you see in the game. So awesome. Thank you, Juan.
Not a problem.
Now, Duke, where are we headed?
We're going to go to 2D art.
Sweet. Let's go. So we're here now on the final stage. The god has now been created and brought into the engine. There's just a little bit left that we got to do. Duke, where are we now?
We are at 2D art.
Okay. Who do we have here?
We're here with Eric Rice, and then we'll talk to Kayla Austin as well. Hello.
Okay. Eric, how about you just give a quick overview of some of the stuff that 2D art requires, and show us some stuff.
Okay, when we first get the god that we're going to be working on for the next release, we talk with the designers, look over the design doc, look it over all the abilities. They all have 3 main abilities and ultimate. They also has a passive. And within the passive, a lot of the recent gods we've been doing passive HUD meters that indicate, give a little more feedback to the user of what's going on with the god. So with Thanatos, we basically started, he just basically has an active state or non-active state at first. And we went through several iterations on how we wanted the passive to work. The first one was, like I said, an active and non-active state that would just give him a bonus. So we came up with this based off his shoulder design, and just painted in Photoshop, came up with a design and a painting, and then scaled it down. We send it off to get approval from the designer and the programmers, anybody that's involved. And then from there I would go into After Effects and start messing with some actual animation so that we can see if that's all right with everyone, if it's fluid enough. From this point, I would break the assets up and get them to Tyler, which does action script and the Flash side of things. From that point, I work with Kayla. She's helping with the 2D stuff, and we start to split off the abilities, any design stuff, and then she kind of polishes and finishes them up.
Okay, so Kayla,
Yes.
let's see what you do now.
Okay. So really, my main job right here is to do a lot of the 2D graphics and stuff for the Billigon like banners and that earn like the spell book and then the actual icons that they click on when they're in game playing. You know, based off what he already said already, you get like a design doc and stuff. You get like kind of what the base abilities are going to be, and you can just kind of go from that. You can kind of concept your own ideas, or what I like to do too is look at some of the spell effects that the god's going to be using, because that can be a big inspiration, I guess, for what the icon should look like. Normally, I'll start out, I'll do the banner first, because then I can just take the actual banner art and then like shrink it down into a small icon that they'll be able to use in game. But yeah, really, there's a lot of different layers. You have like a background layer and stuff, and your main focus. But it's really just messing around and trying to get it to look good, so that like when you shrink it down, it's small, it's easy to read, and players kind of understand what ability that would go with. So that's pretty much what I do here. And then like you said, I work on some of the passive meter stuff, some of the animations and stuff I do, and just kind of final touches before the guy goes out.
Awesome. Well, there we go. That's looks like that's all the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you have it. The process that it takes from going from nothing to having a god inside of the game, so that you guys can play it in Smite. We got our tour in. Spoon was a cat. Duke, you did awesome. Thank you very much for showing us around.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. And if you guys want to try out Smite, there's a link in the description. Sorry, my toe. Anyway, there's a link in the description. You can click and sign up and stuff like that. And yeah.
Meow?
Meow. There we go. He said it. Stop nodding your head, Dan.